Hello, hello, everybody. I just need to set up my other monitor so I can see chat. Hello to everybody here. Hello to my replayers. And let's see. Well, now, come on now. Hello, Belinda. Hi, Stacy. Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Okay. So tonight I want to do some neurographical art. And I've seen people doing it, and I sometimes I just want to reach through the monitor and say, no, not quite like that. You're almost right, but not quite. And so I wanted to explain it a little bit better, and and this is going to be my take on it, but it's my take on it from a professional who I was working with, and she was teaching neurographical therapy. She was doing neurographic art therapy. It comes from a psychiatrist. And I'm not going to teach you all about the therapy tonight because that would just be long, drawn out, and boring. But the art is kind of specific in some forms. And once I teach you the specificities, is that a word? Then you can take it to where you want to take it. But some people are saying, this is neurographic art, and it's not. It looks like it, and it's similar to it, but it's not really. And so, I missed a spot on that one. Look at that. And so I wanted to show some of my art, my neurographic art, and I wanted to show even the ones that I don't like, that I think are ugly, I will show you. I might not show you some of the therapeutic ones that I did because they're kind of personal. However, the therapeutic ones, oops. that one I was wishing I was dead. And so I focused on the word death. And I'm surprised with what I came up with, actually. Renewal, reunion, gain, peace, pain, solitary. Those are some of the words that I came up with. And I picked one, which was reunion, which is a more happy part of death. And that's what I came up with in my art. They all have a similarity to them, and that is they are done with solid lines. They're not done with lines that have little circles in them and little holes and whatnot. The whole reason behind the neurographic therapy is that the lines that you start with represent the synapses in your brain, okay? But if you don't want to do the therapy, you just want to do the artwork, you can skip the first 3 steps and go right to creating the lines. They are solid lines. Solid lines. Not lines with circles, not lines with holes in them. They're solid lines. They can be crooked lines, wavy lines, straight lines, but they're solid lines. I wanted to show you some that I went through and put some circles in the work afterwards, but the line that the circle is attached to is still a straight line, a solid line. So you can see here, this is still a black solid line. I added a loop and did what I was supposed to do, and added another loop and did what I was supposed to do, added another loop and did what I was supposed to do. But the line it's attached to is still a solid black line. That's what I find the most inconsistent thing that I'm noticing with people's neurographic art is they're adding dots and circles where they're not supposed to be. If you want to do true neurographic art, if once you learn the basics, which I will show you tonight, and you want to take off with it, I have no problem. You can say that it's based on neurographic art. Like in this one down here, for instance, you can see all the little yellow circles. I added all those circles, but I connected them with solid lines. All the lines are solid, no matter what color it is. If it's a pink line, a purple line, a green line, a blue line, they're all solid lines. All right, let's get into some of my pictures. I will show them to you, and I'll show you a lot of my this is neurographic art. I haven't finished it yet, but it's a start of neurographic art. Everywhere lines cross on each other, you're going to create points. Peaks, points, triangles. Hello, Belinda. I have been doing this type of art for almost a year now, Belinda. So it's not complicated at all. It looks complicated when it's all done. You go, oh my word, I created this, but it's 2 simple steps. Two very simple steps. This one I'm going to have, it's going to take me a long time to do it, but it's not going to be hard to do it at all. This one is also not finished. This one is finished. Okay. This one, I drew my lines. I drew my wavy lines from top to bottom, crossed over some of the lines. You can cross over all of your lines. You can cross over some of your lines. You can cross over one of your lines. And wherever you come to an intersection, you round it. The object of this is to try and soften things. In therapy, it's to try and soften your thoughts, because some of our thoughts can be harsh and hurtful to ourselves or others. And by continuing to focus on certain words and doing certain things, you actually do change the synapses in your brain, which is what this looks like in the very beginning. You have your lines that are crossed, and you round, and then when you round your corners, round your points off to make them soft, it looks like the synapses of your brain. Adding circles softens it even more. So you can add as many circles as you want, so long as you, wherever it touches another line and creates a point, you can see there's a V there. Wherever it creates that V, you round it off and you soften it. I will explain more as I go on. Look at all the circles I put in here, but look at everywhere they touch. I softened it and everything is round. There are no harsh points anywhere. So let's see. I think I have my book. You know, I do have it the right way. Okay. That was just a wallpaper doodle. That was a swatch. Okay. It doesn't have to stay black and white. You can color them in. But you want to try and color them in a way where it doesn't look like a mosaic. You want 2 and 3 spaces to be colored the same color in the same place. See, this purple goes all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 spaces. This purple has 2 spaces. This purple has 3 spaces. This red goes all the way across. Every now and then you might have a color that has just 1 spot to it. That's fine. But you want to combine your areas to create some cohesiveness. You don't want everything to be separate. You want it to be joined together and roll together and be smooth. You don't have to use black lines. You start with black lines just because it's easier. But then once you get used to it and get into the flow of it, you can start doing black lines and then put a couple of gold lines through it. And then where your gold lines cross over your black lines, you're going to get that point and you fill them in. And it's your choice whether you want to fill them in with black or gold. You just want to make it round. In here, I chose, I did my lines with blue, and then I filled in my points wherever the points were with blue. Then I went in with red and I made lines that crossed over the blue lines, and I filled in all the cross points with red, which meant that some of the areas were now red and blue. How cool is that? They all just blended right together. And then I did some with a bright pink, and then so I had some areas that were blue, red, and pink. And it was really awesome how it all came together. And sometimes you might, in your artwork, find something in there that stands out to you, and that might be the only thing you want to color. This one was, I did it in black. I smoothed out all my, I smoothed out all my spots. See, there's no point there, there's no point there, there's no point there. And no matter how many years you look back at this, you're always going to find a point that you missed. But that's all right. That happens. That's just God's way of letting you know you're not perfect. And in here I saw a foot. I had broken my ankle. And in here I saw bones of the ankle, and I saw a foot, and I was like, oh, that reminds me of when I broke my ankle. And but my ankle is healed now. The bones are together and everything is cohesive. And so I just colored in the foot and the ankle and the 2 leg bones, which is where I broke all my bones, but they're all healed now. So this was very healing and very cathartic. After I was done, I finished it all and went, oh, look, that looks like my healed ankle, not my broken ankle, but my healed ankle. And that's how I left it. This one I can't stand. I decided to do gray and yellow, which I love gray and yellow, but then all the points that I colored in, at first I did the gray, and then I added the yellow and rounded out the yellow. But when I rounded out the yellow, I rounded it out with red marker. And so to me, this doesn't look all together and cohesive. It looks very broken apart. There's nothing cohesive about any of these joins or junctures. They just look like separate things stuck together. And I don't like it. I liked the gray, but then when I added the yellow and used red instead, I didn't like the way it happened. I've had people look at this and say, wow, that's a really cool combination of colors. And yeah, it is, but for what I wanted it to be, it didn't come out right. But if you're just looking at it, people are going, oh, wow, that's really cool. This one I love. It's pink and green, and it comes out looking very neutral. But it's pink and green. They're all solid lines. And I did pink lines and outlined everything in green. So where my points came together, see there's a point there, and I rounded it out with green. I just traced the whole shape with the green, and it came out, I like the way it came out. I call this one framed because I framed all the inside pink lines with green. You can draw a picture first, go through it with your lines, smooth out, round out all your curved lines, all your points, and make them curved lines, and have a totally different picture when you're done. It's really amazing how simple it is, just how simple it is. This one, I started out with with crescents going one way and then crescents going the other way, crossing over, and now it looks like a rose. And I made it muted tones, colored, not muted tones, what's the word? Monochromatic tones, all different shades of peach. I explore with colors, and I did gray and blue on this one again, but most of the time I'm more satisfied with black. I like my lines to be black, my solid lines to be black. And here's another example of where you color in your sections cohesively. You don't want just like this one blue, this one red, this one green, this one yellow, this one orange, this one silver, this one gold. You want to color in certain sections. And what I got out of it was a dragonfly wing. If you look at this whole blue section right here, it just kind of looks like a dragonfly wing. And it also looks like a foot. And I didn't even notice that until after I was all done coloring it. And I went, oh, wow, look at those two things. This one just looks like a New Jersey road map. Here again, I drew roses. Then I drew my lines. And now it looks like stained glass. So I think I've showed you enough pictures that you kind of get the idea. So what I'm going to do is take a clean sheet of paper, and I'm going to show you how to start. And you're going to start, you can either use a really wide chisel black marker, or you can use just a regular tip marker. I don't recommend starting with a fine tip marker your first time out, because your lines get to be real thin, and the areas, your points get to be real small, and it gets to be real tedious, and it's not fun. It's not fun when it's your first time. So for your first time, get yourself a nice big marker. This one is a Sharpie. Nice wide chisel marker. They're only a couple bucks. You're going to start making your lines. Hola, Maritza. Hi, Jassy. Hi, Sherry. And this is how simple it is. You start at the base or wherever you want to start on the edge. You start anywhere on the edge and you make your line. Do not make an even line. If you're going to make a line, do not make it an even wavy line like this. Don't make it an even wavy line. Make it like that because you want all your points to be different. The only lines that I would recommend that you make similar to them is your straight rounded lines where you can create like a nautilus shell, or that round one that I showed you back then. Again, that's for when you get a little bit more used to doing your coloring in. Okay, so there's one line. Now I'm going to come on the other side, which you can't see, I'm off the paper right here on the bottom. I'm going to come on the other side, and I'm going to come around and go up like that. Now in neurographical therapy, you have a time limit. With neurographical art, you take as long as you want or as little time as you want. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to start down here at the bottom in the middle, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to cross. Okay. I'm just going to do those 3 lines. Now I'm going to take a smaller marker and I'm going to make circles out of my points. Or I'm sorry, not circles, rounded edges out of my points. And I'm going to show you what that is right now, what that means right now. Where my lines came together. You see these 4 triangles right here where my lines came together? That's what I want to make round. I don't want there to be any points. I want to make those round. Make those lines round. And you color that little space in. And oh my word, that's your first neurographical piece. Oops, sorry. And you color those in. And now see, compared to this one that's all pointy, this one is nice and round and smooth. And you want all your lines to be solid, and you want all your points to be rounded and soft, like that. So you just go through and you look everywhere on your page where there's a point. You create rounded areas. And I can do that like that, that, like that. So those 2 are nice and rounded and smooth. I'm going to come over here. And again, I have 4 here. So color that one in. And over here, I have 1. I have 1. So I'm going to round it. And I'm going to color it in. And then over here, I have 1. And the reason you get 1 instead of 4 is because your line is longer and it overlaps itself. Now there's a slight little point right there, just ever so slightly. All I'm going to do is take my marker and round that out. So again, solid lines, smooth and rounded. And that's how hard it is. This is neurographical art right here. This is a neurographical art piece right here. And I'm going to I just did 3 lines because I just wanted to make it easy for you the first time to see. Okay, I have some more points right here. So I'm going to round them out. And you don't want to just go in the corner just a little tiny bit like that, because you really want that to be pulled round. You really want it to be smooth. So don't be afraid to make a nice deep well right there and make that really round. Okay, and where else do I have points? I have points here. So I'm going to make that, like that, and like that. And again, that's going to make all those intersections going to be nice and round and flowing and soft and smooth. Okay, there are no circles in these lines. These are solid lines. I didn't, where's my silky paper here? I didn't go like this and make a loop in my line and go like this. I made a straight line, and if you want to make a loop, you make a loop on your line, not in it. You want your lines to be solid. And then, because you made the loop on top, you made a little point right there. So you round it out. And that's how you can get some nice circle shapes. Again, I'll do it over here. There's a point there and a point there. You round it out, round it out. And again, solid line, circle on top of the line, above it, not in it, above it. Okay, and then I have these 4 more points right here. Now you can color them in with the same big chisel points if you want, but I tend to like to use, that's a lot of magic marker, the smaller one to color in those areas. It's a smaller tip. Okay, so now I'm going to look and I'm going to see, did I miss any points? Are there any sharp points, or is there anything like this one? I kind of didn't round it enough the way I like it. I'm just going to, you're going to finesse it a little bit. You're just going to go through and finesse it. Now, you're going to look at that. You're going to say, do I want any more lines? Do I want any different colored lines? Hi, Kathy. Not geometry class, art class. Hi, Kathy. Sherry Van, hello. Did I say hello to you already? I don't remember. Hi, if I didn't. Belinda, Jassy, Stacy, everybody that's talking, Kathy. Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello, people in the balcony. Thank you for being here. So, I have loads of neurographic art. There are going to be some times when you want to use a different color. There's nothing wrong with that. So you grab, where's my markers? I got some here somewhere. Here's some. So you grab your markers, and I'm going to use light blue. And I'm going to say, I want to add 5 more lines, and I'm not even really going to look. I'm just going to add 5 more lines. There's 1, There's 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it, 5 more lines. Now you can see I've created more intersections. I've created blue intersections, and I've created blue and black intersections. And I've created these little triangles. I personally just color those little triangles in because it's a pain in the butt to try and get a little round circle in there. So I just color those little triangles in and I round out the other corners, the other points that are there. And it is entirely up to you whether you want to use the black marker to fill them in or the blue marker. I like doing both. So let's see, I've got a point right here. So I'm going to fill in, and again, my lines are solid. No little white dots. Over here. That's just a tiny little divot, so I'm just going to round out the line. I'm going to color that in. Make it a solid line. Again, a tiny little divot, so I'm just going to arc the line. And there we go. We have circles. All you're doing is filling in your points. Whether they're blue and black, all blue. There shouldn't be any all black anymore because you did them all. That's how easy this is. I wish I could have like all of you come on my channel. I can only have one person. To have all of you come on my channel and have you each take out a piece of paper and do this. Because it's that simple. It really is that simple. So I'm going to color in my points here. It's not going to take me too long. I'm going to color in my points. Now here I have 2 points that are right close together. And instead of making 2 tiny arcs, I'm just going to make 1 arc and color it in. And here I've got 1, 2, 3 points. And instead of making 3 tiny little arcs, again, I'm just going to make 1 arc and color the 3 points in. Just like that. There's 1 point over here. There's just a little divot right there. A little point there. A little point there. Okay, now, for those of you who want to make those circles, you can do it at any time you want. But don't forget to color in your points. You want to smooth out those points. So let's say this was my whole picture right here, all where I've got all the points done. Let's say this was my whole picture. Let me do this also right here. And I'm looking at that going, okay, I need there to be some circles. I need there to be some softness, some smoothness, not these ovals, but circles. So that's when you just take your marker and you make a circle and you try to make it as round as you can. Even if you need to use a stencil, a round stencil, to make it as round as you can, do that. Then where your lines cross, where you have a point, you want to color in those points, smooth them right out. And look, it's not a circle anymore. Now we have this segmented circle. It's got lines going through it, and it kind of looks like a planet, and it's not a round circle anymore. It's segmented. That's okay. You can have segments in your thinking. You can have segments in your art. So long as they're all smooth and all the points are colored in. And that, okay, now there are others that are taking this to other extremes where they're breaking up that solid line. The minute you break up that solid line into small circles and start adding polka dots and stitches and X's through it, you don't really have neurographical art anymore. Putting dots on a line is a geometric sequence. You are absolutely right. It is no longer a neurographical anything. The minute you start putting white dots on your black lines or pink dots on your blue lines, your lines need to stay solid. For this to be neurographic art, your lines need to stay solid. Now, for the purposes of the scavenger hunt, you can start with a neurographical art piece and turn it into a Zentangle if you want by adding little white lines on, little white dots on your lines, and turn it into, not a Zentangle, I'm sorry, but a doodle. So you can repurpose your art, repurpose your neurological art into a doodle. You can do that if you're doing the scavenger hunt with Janet Young. I have no qualms about that at all. I have no problems with that at all. My thing was, there are a lot of people out there that think neurographic art is just a bunch of doodles. You start with lines and you fill in your points, and if you don't fill them all in, oh well, and then they start doing other stuff in there. And it's just a doodle when you do that. You started out as neurographic, you got maybe a neurographic art base, but then you turn it into a doodle. That's my big issue. This solid lines and rounded points is neurographic art. Then let me show you my first one I ever did. Is it in here? It's probably in the back because I don't like it. And here it is. I couldn't find my markers, but all I had with me was my chalk pastels. So this is what I did. I started out with really, really dark lines, and then I went and did medium lines, and then I went in and did fine lines. This is my first one. You know, I had to jump right in. I couldn't just do the easy one first. I had to do the hard one first. And I didn't have any markers with me, but I had my chalk pastels, so I started rubbing in certain areas with just, you know, some pastels, and it actually came out pretty decent. I look like I have a chrysalis or a caterpillar in there, trying to be a chrysalis in there somewhere, and but that's how it came out. And I actually put in an actual circle in there. But I filled in all my, look at that, I just found another point that I missed. Oh my land of Goshen. I always saw that one, but now there's one right next to it. See, you're gonna miss some points. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. You're gonna miss some points. So that was the first one I did. I colored it with chalk. This I don't remember when I did this one. I didn't label it, but I started with pastel paint, not pastel, watercolor paints first. I did an entire background, and then I did the neurographic lines with white. Once the whole page was dry, I did it with white, and when it was dry, you could hardly see it, so I went over the same lines. I went over the same lines a third time, and the third time was the charm. So your neurographic lines can be any color you want them to be. You can do them in any medium you'd like to do them in. It's just easier to start with markers. This one I did in watercolor. This one I did in marker. It was a bigger one. I cut it down for my scavenger hunt and made it into a corner pocket. I repurposed my own art. So I took my own piece of art and I made a corner pocket out of it. And I stuck it in the scavenger hunt. It was awesome. A topical map. It does kind of look like that, doesn't it? Let's see. Here's some others I did with colored pencil. This one had an eye in it. I had to have that eye. That eye just had to be there. I don't know why, but it just had to be there. And I did a little bit of shading with some green and yellows, some purples and pinks, some turquoises. I did some shadings in there. And a butterfly wing came out of it all. This one was one of those just arc lines, just straight arc lines all the way around and then crossing over in the other direction. And it made this propeller type looking thing. And I colored that in with colored pencils and shaded it in and what did I call this one? Flight of the Fireflies. This one's Flight of the Fireflies. You can see I did 3 colors. I did the blue, the turquoise, and the green. And that's it. I just left it at that. I didn't color it in after that because I figured the lines were enough color. And you think, oh my gosh, look at all the lines. There must have been a lot of points. Well, when you only do 4 or 5 lines at a time and you color in your points and then you do 4 or 5 more lines, it's a lot easier that way. Here's one that I call, one is called Seaweed and one is called Tentacles. And I think this one is called Seaweed. Goes this way. This one is called Seaweed and that one is called Tentacles. And again, it has an eye at the top right up there. You can see the eye. This one looks like planets to me. Again, this one was watercolor. Markers. Markers again. Watercolor markers though. Markers again. Don't ask, I don't know. It looks like it started out to be a mermaid and then something happened. I don't know what happened. So this one was just weird. That's colored pencil. This one was chalk. This one was watercolor. This turned out to be a doodle because I broke up my solid lines in here and I put circles in the middle of the solid lines. I made a line with a loop and kept going a line and another loop and a line and another loop. This ended up being a doodle. This is not a neurographic art. This is a doodle. Over here is neurographic art. Then here's a doodle. And then here is neurographic art. So it's kind of got both worlds combined. As you can see, some of these I haven't colored them in yet. I haven't decided what colors I want to use or what medium I want to use. That's a doodle. I broke up my solid lines. That's a doodle. All of those circles. This is a doodle. This is not neurographic art. This is a doodle. Woohoo! This one looks like a subway road map. Subway map to me. That's a lot of my art. That's not all of it, but it's a lot of it. One, I have some others. A spirograph. Spirograph, that's awesome. Okay, let me see what else. Okay, that's the one I did tonight, and then I think I went through all of these already. I think it's these that I didn't go through. I was just black and white. Oh, I did go through these because I remember the rose and I remember the blue and the gray. Oh yes, the foot and the dragonfly. This one I don't like. It's totally disconnected. Yes, I did go through these. The roses. Okay, I'm sorry. We don't need to show you all these again. This one is hideous. I don't even know what that is. It goes on the bottom. And it's just a touch of bronze. Here's another spirally one. And there's a flower. I started with the flower and then went over it. And it looks like it's trying to be a fly. There's the eye and there's the wing of a fly. I don't like this one. It's all disconnected. Although it is fun to look at as like a piece of paper to do a punch, what do we call that? A die cut with or something, like on a background. It kind of looks cool that way. And that's just my sample paper. Did I show you the ones that were in the book already? I must have. Yeah, the water paper, wallpaper, wallpaper, wallpaper. The one I really like. I love this one. This one's a doodle. This one came out a doodle. I broke up my solid lines with all these red polka dots all over the place. This one's a doodle. Church ceiling, yeah. I love this one. I just love the autumnal colors of it all. And I figured that was enough color. Using the color for the lines, I figured that was enough color. I liked it like that. I didn't need to color in anymore. This is my Nomi claws. This is nose. That's his red hat. There's his beard and his mustache. And his beard goes all the way down here. And there's his green outfit and his sash that says Nomi claws. This is just a picture I decided I wanted to try and draw. I was trying to work on clouds and I was trying to work on trees and I don't like any of it, but I kept it because now I know what I don't want to do. This one's just wackadoodle. That's just crazy. Again, autumnal colors. I like that one. So I tried it again without the black in it, and I like it. It's really pretty. I did a pink one. See, doesn't that look like the synapses in your brain? That's my belly dancer. And her big butt sticking out and her belly going back and forth and her arms are up in the air. That was my belly dancer. This is a yoga pose. The long skinny body and the legs stretching out and the arms going up. This one is spiral in all different kinds of ways. And that's the one I just started with you guys tonight. It's a gonk, that's right, it's a gonk. He has no eyes. But I didn't know that at the time. So he's a gnome. I didn't know that at the time. So is there any questions or anything you'd like me to demonstrate all over again? Because I would be happy to help out anybody who's still stuck on the idea of what neurographic art is. Just remember, if you're going to do neurographic art, you want to keep your lines solid. If you want to make circles, you make circles above your lines or below your lines. Or through them, a big circle all the way through it. But you don't want to make circles in your lines that breaks up your lines. So, wow, I didn't think I'd ever show anybody all of my neurographic art because some of it was kind of personal, but I just didn't tell you which ones were the personal ones, so you have no clue, except that one. That was pretty fun. So nobody has any questions? Oh, awesome. You understood everything. That's great. That's great. I like it when I can explain stuff and people understand. I'm so happy I could help you all out. I'm glad you all showed up. I'm glad you all showed up and I was able to show you what neurographic art really is. I'm going to call it a little bit early tonight. And I want to thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that you all were here. Thank you all to the balcony people. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to my replayers for watching till the end. Thank you everybody in chat that was here. I greatly appreciate your chat and your comments. More like a troll. You're right, Kathy. Now that you say that, you're right. He did look more like a troll. Could make a neurographic quilt. A neurographic quilt. How would we do that? How would we do that? That sounds like a really great idea. Oh, thank you, Belinda. Thank you. Kathy, a neurographic quilt is a really cool idea. I wonder how we could make that come about. That's a really cool idea because you got to make all your little points rounded. It would be very curvy. Curvy, curvy, curvy. That would be really cool though. So thank you everyone again from the bottom of my heart. And I shall see you in chat somewhere, but definitely next Tuesday starting at 7:30. Hope to see you all there. Bye for now. Meow. Meow, 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 meow.